Hi there. Hi. My name is Azaka Ajanaku. I'm the host for today's show. And I just play some harmonica, some beautiful music. I had an harmonica since I was 13 years old. My godmother gave me one. Since then, I've been playing on my own. I cannot read music, but I can play tone and melody. So I thought this year, 2012, I'm starting something new. Every show now, I'm going to open with a particular song. All right. So you are watching Unity and Diversity, C'est la vie. Unity and Diversity, C'est la vie. It is a community project that seeks to promote the cultural harmony of the human race and the spiritual unity among various religious expressions of faith. This year, we celebrate, we are 19 years old this year. And before I start, I want to thank my director right now in the in the control room, Mr. Bill Gadomski, and he's been with me also close to 19 years, the whole school. Then we have Miss Carol Bolton L. She's at the camera and floor manager, and also we've been at it since almost 19 years. Beside Bill and Carol, I have Audrey, Lindsay. Audrey, hi. Audrey is part of the old school too. We started in the 90s at Ken TV producing show in the community. And next to Audrey is Gloria Satterfield. All of us, we started years ago. And so I thought I'd give credit to, because the show, to do a television show is not only one person. I cannot do it by myself. If the show is successful, if you like it, you please it, that's because all these people put their energy with my energy in the show, make it one. And we had other producer, hosts beside the crew. We have Magda Desir. She's a host. She's been with Unity and Diversity. She has her own show, the Magda Show, for many years. Magda, welcome to Unity and Diversity.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you tell the audience a little bit about your show, your experience in a few minutes since from the late 90s to today?
Well, I've been doing different types of shows since I was in 01, 02. With there were other students as well that were doing it with me, and we were called the Young Hip Hop Generation. And we did a segment, and then everybody started to travel different ways, but I kept with it. So I've been on and off. You'll see me sometimes, you won't see me at times, but I've been doing this for quite a while, over a decade, so pretty good.
Okay, thank you, Magda. And also, you, the viewer, you're going to see the importance of Magda being here. Magda represents the second generation. I'm the old folks from the 60s, and she's keeping an eye on me, and I'm keeping an eye on her as well. So, and we had Sharif, the reporter for West Africa. He was supposed to be here, and for some reason he's not with us, but he's a regular, also a host for the African segment of Unity and Diversity, C'est la Vie. We have Monique German for health and women issue. She's the president of Haitian American Women Association in Chicago. Monique does that. Then we have, beside Monique, Colette Ascar. She's been on the show as well for business related. So all of us as a family, like they said, we are putting our energy together to bring you every Sunday night, if you are in Chicago, if you are in Evanston or Connecticut, Boston, New York, New Jersey, and Florida, it's a different time. Give me a call at 312-972-9252 for information about our schedule. Now, I'm going to read something for you. Very, very important. This is taken from a book. And this is the reason why we are on the show. There is one more guest. Very soon you're going to see who she is. This book, The Female Solution. There's the book, okay? The Female Solution. If you are black, if you are white, if you are African American, if you are Haitian, West Indian, Jamaica, from the motherland, this book, you should read it. I recommend it, and you're going to see later why I say that. This book encourages us to look into the future, to have a vision. It encourages us to be responsible. It encourages us to look at ourselves and our relationships with our wives. It encourages us to look at the condition of other women and the responsibility of taking care of them also. The Female Solution. Continue on page 17. This is a book to help us understand what we are doing to our children. Why are so many men reluctant to commit to marriage? Dishonest about relationships with other women, unwilling to provide financial support for their families, and disdainful of women in general. So, but this is only a tip of the iceberg. It's not the whole thing. Why? Because I have the author, the writer of this book, the Queen, Miss Naimah, Sister Naimah Latif. Welcome to Unity and Diversity, C'est la Vie.
Thank you so much.
Okay, all right, my sister. Okay, Naimah, you want to say a couple of words and greet the audience before we get to the meat?
Well, of course, I extend my greetings to your audience, and I'd like to just say that what inspired me to write this book was the time I spent in classrooms and seeing the pain in the children because of the dysfunction of the families and the absence of fathers and the hostility of mothers who were angry at the fathers, and seeing how that was affecting the children, and then being able to, through studies, seeing the connection between the extreme violence in our streets and the lack of harmony in the home between the mother and the father. Okay,
we're not going to give them all now at the beginning, so no, people won't get choked. First of all, tell them about your show, the time of your show, and a website, a contact. Because Sister Naimah is a producer as well at Ken TV. And I think she's from the old school too. I don't know, I'll let her speak.
Well, we're in our 12th year here at Ken TV. We're also shown in Evanston and other cities and suburbs. The Media Connection, the name of the show, and you can see it here at Ken TV, Channel 19, every Monday at 5 p.m. and Tuesdays at noon. And you can also see it in Evanston TV at 7 p.m. on Thursdays, 4:30 p.m. on Saturdays, and 1:30 p.m. on Fridays. And you can see it on our TV channel, on the web at www.youtube.com/TheMediaConnectionTV. And you can watch us anytime, and we certainly hope to have you on as a guest so they can see more of you as well.
Thank you. You're all over the technology. I enjoy that. I love it. You know. Also, there's something else personal I want to share with you. I met Sister Naimah and her husband, peace be to his soul, in 2003, because he wrote a book. Naimah wrote a book, Psychic Trauma, Slavery, the African American. And when I look, I see 2003.
Yes.
Man,
It's been a while.
This is right. And also, I bought a couple of books from the sister. One I give one book to my daughter, and the other one to my niece in Florida. All right. So the personal thing I want to say is that Sister Naimah is a Muslim. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And Magda, you're from the second generation, very bright student, college student, right?
Yes.
And trying to work the Haitian community, because she's represented a second generation.
Yes.
You know, and there is clash, there is misunderstanding,
yes.
Cross-cultural, cross-generational, all kinds. You know why sometimes, you know, yes. I don't go crazy, you wonder why. Anyway, we're going to touch on that, and I think my Sister Naimah talked about it in the book. Now, the next thing is, I have a sister in, she passed away, she was a Muslim in Haiti, and I have a niece right now who is a Muslim in Florida. I have a lot of my family Muslim, Christian, and myself, I'm a member of the Baha'i faith. But my sister told me something about, I think, in the year around 2000. She said, I'm an older brother, so usually younger sister I respect don't know how to report the yoga. And I said, I have a husband. She told me. And I said, oh, I didn't know you were married. Since when? He said, well, this is something, you know, I had to talk to you. And then she told me her husband has 3 wives in Haiti. And she told me about the Muslim. There is a growing population of Muslims in Haiti. Yes. And then my niece in Florida as well. She is the second wife of Brother Abdul, who is my brother-in-law, and she has 2 kids. So this is new for us, growing up in the Catholic upbringing, you know, in Haiti, and this is a reality. You know, whether your child, your daughter, your son may end up becoming a Muslim, and then your daughter may be in a marital arrangement, you know, all these things. Anyway, I don't want to say too much. It's to tell you a little bit about the background, how Haiti, there is a large population of Muslim, and my family, many members of my family are Muslim, and they observe the Muslim tradition. Now, Sister Naimah, so making that connection, then I come and talk to you. You and your husband, if you remember, I said, I had to invite you because this is what my sister told me. Can you help us, the Haitian community as well as the other community at large, to understand, you know, that phenomena. And also I talked to Magda. She has many questions for you, many objections, anyway, you have the honor. Can you say a little bit?
Well, absolutely.
Where do you want to start? There's so many things.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I prefaced my statement with what inspired me to write the book. A lot of people misunderstand this cultural lifestyle, and a lot of women are frightened by it because they have a misconception about really what marriage is. Marriage is about bringing people together to act as a family, and it's for the purpose of being able to raise your children in a safe, loving environment, to have companionship, to support each other economically. It's for the purpose of your survival. That's what a family does. It's very basic. And this is not a lifestyle that is alien or new. You can go throughout history and see that many times men had many wives. And the reason is so that children, again, will be in a home where there is a mother and a father to provide those roles, and so that nobody will be orphaned. There will be no one without a loving companion. There will be no child without a father. And the reality is, generally, there are times when the population is not balanced. There are more females than males, because males generally are the ones that go to war. They do the more dangerous things. They die earlier. So if you don't find a way to address that fact, that means you're condemning a large group of women to not ever having any companionship within a marriage. That's not healthy emotionally, physically, spiritually. So what I did in the book, The Female Solution, is to help women understand that this is something that's a part of nature. In the animal kingdom, animals form family groups based on the ratio of male to female. Now, in cases where it's balanced, pretty much male to female, you have, one male, one female. And they may mate for life, such in cases, certain birds and so forth. But in cases of herd animals, a lot of times, most of the times, there are many more females than males. And so the females will bond together to collectively help raise the children, and they'll select the strongest, most able male among them to be the male mate, the provider, the protector, and that sort of thing. And they're a family. So I've listed many different examples of that. But also really in a conversation with women, helping them understand our biggest thing is to get over our jealousy. Because we have this concept of marriage meaning ownership. I own you, you're mine, nobody else can have you. And so we end up bitterly fighting each other over companionship instead of having the kind of relationship we should have as loving sisters to each other and supporters of each other. And realizing that if you're an attractive man, then you're going to attract several other women. And as a man, if you're a good man, then you can provide a good example and be a good father to children. So all women want that for themselves.
I want to bring something. When I talk about my sister, my younger sister, I think she was born, Evelyn was born in 1955. So, and one of the things, the advantage, when she tried to explain to her, she's a Muslim.
Yes.
In the Muslim world, there is no big deal about it.
Right.
Because according to the Prophet guideline, you could have up to 4 women and to take care of them, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, and it was a purpose, it was an arrangement also, from what I read, to because of war, a lot of boys were dying.
A lot of young men leaving behind,
so to prevent
women
begging,
with children, right?
And women go into poverty.
Or prostitution, all of those ills that happen in society. You have to have a way that women can maintain their dignity. Yeah,
there is another aspect I like about it when my sister told me that, okay? My sister had cancer, cervical cancer, okay? She reached to a point really, her husband, Jean-Claude, it was not a matter of sexual relation, It was a matter of affection, companion, and taking care of her.
Absolutely.
He had the first wife, and my sister was the second wife. So when my sister said, and he said, if she was with any other man, the man would divorce her. Because there are certain illness that come to a woman as you age. There is nothing you can do about it. If the man is not ready psychologically to understand the women issue, the female issue, that's the way she wants me to look at it.
I understand that. I mean, I had a friend who had cancer and her husband divorced her, which, made her condition worsen even because he emotionally was not able to be the loving companion to her that she needed.
Okay, all right, very good. So I wanted to make it clear. And first of all, I don't know if we're going to go to all the details as far as historical. Why is it that we're adapting the European style of marriage versus because all of us who are immigrants in this country, we all came from Africa. What was it in Africa? What was the marriage arrangement in Africa? So let me start there because I want the younger generation to know.
Humanity is the most fantastic thing. together. Unity is the most fantastic
we don't
thing.
monopolize.
Unity makes you want to love each other.
Magda, you read the book?
Yes.
And in fact,
I love that look on her face.
your official reaction was, wow, she's heavy, or she's deep, something like that. You use a quality. Okay, it's up to you now.
Yeah, I did read the book. It brought different lights to different situations, different aspects, because as going into my mid-20s and, you know, having girlfriends that are same age or maybe a couple years older, we've always had discussions about what is a good man, what type of a relationship do we want, being that some of us didn't have a father figure growing up in the home. How do we look for that father figure without implementing so much high expectations for that man to replace that father figure without us having to push him to doing what we want him to do, or to make him perfect, or to, you know, have a type of degree or a type of income or a type of standard in society or a type of standard in life. It kind of balances between that, but it also shows I also saw that no one's perfect. You can't find that perfect man. If that's the case, then Jesus would be down here every day and everybody would have been married and happy, and, you know, life would have been peachy keen. Nothing would be wrong. We wouldn't see any faults, any flaws, any hurt, nothing. We wouldn't see anything. So my question to you is, how would you address the issue for young women in mid-20s to late 20s trying to sit and to figure out what type of man do we want? Do we want to share? Do we not want to share? Do we want to accept the concept of the Muslim religion and how, you know, when men have more than one wives, and, you know, when it comes to finding that mate, finding that companion, what do we look for? What do we not do to scare him off and be like, I don't want to marry this girl because she got a lot of issues, or I don't want to marry her because she didn't have a daddy in the home, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you give a young woman advice in order to find, I don't want to say find a man, but in order to have a relationship with a man, so that way she's not saying, okay, I want him to be the father that I've never had, and not putting so much pressure on him and into him having to marry her, him having to be faithful to her and only her, him having to provide for her, to do everything to the point where she's not, you know, to the point where she won't be bitter.
That's a very good question. And actually, I'm actually launching a national book tour with the Female Solution. I'm calling it the Female Solution Tour in March, starting with Women's History Month. And we're going to colleges across the country to talk to young women, because this is a critical issue. And every year we go on the Historically Black College Tour with the Rainbow Push organization. And so many of these colleges, the ratio of male to female is like 17-to-1, with, you know,
so
17 women to every one man. So you look at the dynamics of that, the social dynamics of that. You're not going to have a man for every woman on that level. When you talk about up-and-coming professional women, the men aren't there. There are a lot of social reasons for that. And some women say, well, let's see if we can uplift the black man. Well, yeah, we're going to do that. But the reality is, right now, if you look in your peer group and you don't see equal numbers of men and women, what do you do? And so, going to these colleges and talking to these women, we do address the fact that you got to look at the numbers in your generation, because it's this generation that really has to make this decision. And if you don't have a model where you can help a man be honest and fair and respectful, then he's going to be dishonest and unfair and disrespectful. So the Muslim religion provides a guideline. Other religions provide a guideline, because marriage is a spiritual institution. So it has to have a spiritual base. It has to have a spiritual reason. You're committing to this person for their upliftment and yours, so that you can become better people. And like you say, no one's perfect. And no, you're not going to find a perfect person, because it's not the purpose of marriage. The purpose is to choose someone who can help you become a better person as you help them become a better person, because we're all on our journey to God. And so that's the reason for it.
There is a point, I don't know, if you've satisfied the answer, we can come back
there's
to
more,
it.
but
We have to make it a conversation.
Right.
But, you know, the issue of demography is very important.
Yes.
Sometimes I look at Haiti, you know, one of the elements that caused the independence in Haiti, because the African were outnumber the European, the French.
Yes.
Okay, so demography is very important.
Oh yes.
So when the guerrilla start, the freedom fighters were involved, going to the mountain, fighting for their freedom, the number was with them.
Yes.
Had they had not the numbers, they would be defeated by the soldier, Napoleon soldiers. Right?
That's right.
So when you look at in this country, I'm very concerned, not only because, you know, I'm a father figure for Magda, but I have nieces. My sister in Boston got 4 girls.
Yes.
She's worried. 2 of them already have
Kids.
children out of wedlock.
Children know, and that's what happens.
You know, and he said, Azaka, do you talk about it on your show? What are we going to do? As a mother, she's worried, you know, about the future of her daughters.
Yes.
And even father worry about the future of the son. Sharif has 4 sons. He was supposed to come here, but he didn't come. But when you look at the population in this country, us, black men, okay? Many of us are in jail.
Yes.
Right. Many of us also choose a different lifestyle.
That's right.
They don't want women
That's right.
to procreate.
That's right.
So the pool is reduced.
That's right.
I forgot to talk to
that's
Magda
real.
about it.
I mean, I had a
It's real,
conversation
right.
with Carol about it earlier. I was like, you know, I said that there's, like I mentioned before, there's no one's perfect. There's not a perfect man. Because either, you know, you, as a young lady, you go to school, you get an education, you get a degree, you do all this, you be successful, you do so much to reach a high point in life to where you're like, all right, I'm ready to settle down, I'm ready to have a family, I'm ready to have kids. But then you're stuck with men that either not ambitious, don't have any drive, they don't want to work, and you feel like the good ones are either taken, they're gay, or they're down low. So you're left with those that are either just got out of jail, or the thugs on the street, and you're just like, well, you know, it's kind of like you're settling. You have high standards and you have high expectations to find that mate, but it makes it even harder. And then if you step outside of your own race, people are like, you giving up on the black man. you a sellout because you're a Sally now. You have the straight hair, you talk as if you're, you know, a white person, and then you're dealing, you know, have a different crowd, you forget where you come from, and did you forget that you were black, and then you can't leave the black man alone, you know what I'm saying? It's
yes,
like,
all of that.
It's like, things. It's kind of hard because at the same time, it's okay for a black man to step outside of the box, but it's wrong for a black woman to do it because we've given up on the black man, and now, you know, we're being reprimanded for that. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a double standard in a way.
Oh,
so
yes, absolutely it is.
So when you're a successful black woman and you're trying to find that black man that has everything that you want, but you can't because they're illiterate or they're not there, then you do this. You have child out of wedlock, and you going back and forth with the father, either in child support, or you just satisfied with what it is. Like you want that companionship, and you want your child to know that having a family is what it is. You know, you have a father, you have a mother. If you haven't, you know, you want your child to know that 2 people can cohabitate together and raise a child to be a better person for tomorrow.
Right.
But unfortunately, most black women, 80% of black women are single parent mothers.
Yes.
And that's a problem. That's a stigma. And growing up today and seeing that, living in a single parent home, you know, it doesn't show me right. And I'm only child. It doesn't show me a way to be and to find companionship and be like, look, I want to raise a family. I don't want to be where my mother is. I don't want to be where my father is. My father is raising his own family. And you know,
let's make it clear, because before I said my daughter, stepdaughter.
okay, yes. Well,
I'm the big uncle. Yeah, yeah.
so you see what I'm saying? It's a lot of young women out here that didn't have that father figure in the house. They had to look outside of the home for a father figure. That's why most of them already have kids.
And you're exactly right. And when you talk about the pressure on a man to compensate for the lack of a father, and this is exactly why we talk about the female solution, because a man raised in a house with just a mother isn't going to know how to be a man of the house. He's never seen it. And a woman is not going to know what to look for in terms of what's a correct behavior of a husband if she hasn't seen her mother in a relationship where she's respected and honored and taken care of and treated as a good equal partner. She's not going to know what to look for. She might have a fantasy, but she's not really going to have a realistic expectation of what a good man is. And so unless you have some kind of a structure where a man can be legitimately a husband and father in that house, even if he's got a family somewhere else, but he's also a husband and father, but at least the children will know what the relationship is, so that we don't keep passing on this single parenthood to each generation. We've had several generations of this now. It started with the welfare system here, where they would pay women if they were single parents. They'd pay you to take care of your children.
Back in the 70s, 80s,
right.
yeah.
And so a lot of women, well, you get more money from the government than you are from this husband.
That's
so
right.
kick the man out, because the government's paying me. So you got a family that's being raised with no father. Those children don't know how to go about finding somebody and getting married and being husband and wife, because they didn't see it. So then they have children out of wedlock, and then their children have children out of wedlock. You have 4 or 5 generations.
Cycle,
it's a vicious cycle. So it's got to end with us deciding to have a family structure, just like what worked in the past in our African culture and many other Asian cultures around the world, when there are more females than males, so that every woman has the right to have a husband and a father for her children and a loving companion. And she's respected in that.
Now, I watched your show you did in St. Louis, is that right?
Yes.
Your presentation, it was very good. I always watch your show, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very informative. Unfortunately, Magda is not in Chicago right now, but I guess we can go, you're on the line.
YouTube,
You're on
YouTube.
right?
Yes, you can get it out
Okay, wherever you are in the world, you can watch
Yes, you
Sister
can watch it
Naimah
everywhere in the
Latif.
world.
And with this book, okay, this is it. Yeah. Here in KTV, we don't do commercial, we don't get no money for that. But something instructive, educational, that I'm going to talk about it. The book is for you, whether you're Haitian, you're Jamaican, from the island, Mother Africa, wherever you are. And also if you're Caucasian too, to understand what's going on in our community. Why is it that right now, okay, I'm an adult, Magda is coming up adult, you're an adult. Why don't we have a platform where we see young brothers, young sisters talking about this issue? What do you think, Magda?
I've seen it sometimes. Certain young people have done that. Matter of fact, we had a session in the studio in Evanston where we had a group of young people, and they did talk about, I was really impressed, the young men were talking about relationships, and they were talking about some of the things that you brought out. The fact that these sisters got, all this extreme expectation, this pressure, and the neediness that comes from not having a father, and you can't be all that, and so that frightens them away from commitment and so forth. So it's a lot of things that we have done to our children out of our own ignorance, and that really cripples them from being able to form a healthy relationship where they can trust each other enough to get married.
Maybe we should invite a bunch of your peers come here and then have Naimah answer that question.
Talk about it,
because I'm not that qualified. I just read a couple of books. Wouldn't that be a good idea?
That would. I mean, I would get to see different aspects and know what everybody's thinking, because sometimes it's even harder when you're dating a young man who also didn't have a father figure in the home.
Oh, yes.
So you clash because
you expect certain things, and he has no idea
exactly.
why.
And then he's dealing with internal issues because he didn't have that father.
Yes.
He didn't have that father figure in the house. He had to grow up learning how to do stuff his own. Had to go to puberty by himself.
That's very hard.
Had to learn how to, date girls, talk to girls, everything. Especially if he had sisters, and he was the only male. He had to learn how to be by himself, to play by himself, because he couldn't be rough with his sisters, and had to hold emotions in, because you know, if he cried or if he talked about it, he's a sissy or you're a punk and you're not a man. So when someone dates someone like that, and then when a young lady is dating a young man who doesn't have a father figure in the house, and she didn't have a father figure in the house, it's
the blind leading the blind.
It is the blind leading.
Fall in the ditch.
Exactly.
No, it is very important.
It's hard for the young woman to understand him, because she's trying to understand why he has all these insecurities, what's going on, and she's trying to be supportive, but he's so closed that it's like, my father let me down. People let me down, so why should I let you in? Because I know you gonna let me down as well.
The mistrust.
It becomes a very big issue.
Trust
and then,
is a big issue when you feel abandoned by a parent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Before I'm going to touch on something else, because we're talking about the symptom, right?
Yes.
The symptom, the malady affecting us as black people in our community.
Right.
It is a reality, because I can count how many nephews and nieces who experience the same problem than you. It's not only Magda. You know, I tell you my nieces in Boston, New York, and Haiti as well. And let me ask you this. In the book, The Female Solution, do you have a study, have you thought about creating a study plan?
Well, actually, there are groups that are doing that. We have a group in St. Louis, as a matter of fact, where I just left young people's group that actually is using that as a study guide. Some churches are using it as part of their marriage counseling guide.
Because I think it should, you know, because sometimes when you read a book, even if you go back and you read it again, and then
certain things pop out that you didn't see before.
Right. Yeah. Plus, we are living in a society driven materially. We forgot. Oh yeah, what this book? Then you see, our mind is flipping all over the place. You know. So I thought about a study guide to chapter by chapter, question and answer. Because of that, we lost our mind.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why we're launching this tour in March, because young people really need training on how to have a successful relationship, how to successfully be married and raise children. And we talk about polygamy, but you really can't do polygamy until you can master monogamy. You got to know how to be a husband, how to be a wife.
And you got to know yourself.
You got to know yourself.
As a human being.
First thing, you got to know yourself.
Who are you? Yeah.
And if you got a lot of insecurities and self-doubts, you're not going to be a good partner to somebody else, because they can't feel the hole inside of you. Exactly. You got to feel that, and you got to know that it's there, and that's why your behavior is so off, because you're still wounded from a childhood without that parent that you needed to be there.
Yeah. I want to share. I want to bring a historical point. I know. Well, I got to talk about my brother. Your husband.
Yes.
Wrote a book, Psychic Trauma. Okay, I read it too. Since 2003, I have it. I have another one. The African Origin of Civilization by Sheikh Anta Diop.
Yes.
We're going to come back and talk about it. You're going to see what I'm talking. There's another one, very powerful. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Wilson.
Yes.
My third one, I like this one, a very good one. Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire. You know? Now, of course, the Solution is the top one for today. That's what brought me here. Okay, I have with me a document.
Unity makes you want to dance and sing.
For everyone.
So you put your hands together. It's a feeling so sublime. That's unity. That's unity. together. Unity is the most fantastic thing. Unity
Now,
makes you want to love each other.
Of course, the female solution is the top one
makes
for today. That's what brought me here. Okay, I have with me a document, and for everyone, every human being on the planet of the earth, and particularly in Haitian, very familiar. It's called the Black Code, the Code Noir. March, May, I got to switch language now, 1685, by Louis XIV. It's a black code. It's like a constitution. It has 60 articles. So, when I said historical, and your husband talked about it in the psychic trauma,
Yeah.
okay, from a African American perspective,
Yeah.
and struggle here,
Yes.
and we for ourselves we were on the island, but we are both here. We experience the same
situation.
thing.
That's
We-
right.
We lost our mind.
That's right.
You know, the Black Code, the first article, the second article said, whenever you kidnap an African in Africa, that was back in 16 during slavery, you brought that person to the island, him and her. The first thing you do, you change the name.
Yes.
You change the name of the person. Is that right?
That's right. That's
Then
right.
you change the religion.
That's
Don't
right.
come and practice your African religion, whether it's Muslim or the traditional religion.
Right.
All right? Now, all the slaves have to be baptized in the Catholic religion and instructed. So, if you're Catholic, you got a baptism, confirmation, all the rituals, right?
Yes.
And there is something else. The master tell you who to pick for spouse,
That's right.
a man and a woman. So when you destroy the name, you destroy the language, you destroy the family structure,
Right.
what do you have? You have a zombie.
That's right.
I'm not ashamed to say that all of us, we are half zombie or three-quarter zombie, or all zombie 100%,
That's right.
because we lost the knowledge of who we are, of ourselves.
That's how you destroy a person.
That's right. So therefore, I'm saying that, Magda, because I talked to my niece about it. So to understand, when the female solution is talking about an alternative, you know, whether you're Muslim or not, it's a reality. You cannot escape it, you know. Otherwise, it's a disappearance of the black community.
Right.
Because
right.
if you and your boyfriend do not get married, you do not procreate, guess what? Who's going to procreate?
Somebody else.
Census is very important. From the Bible, from the
That's right.
Quran, the first thing, all the leaders, the king of Israel, all the focus on the census. The
That's
census is what make a community.
That's right. The
And
growth
even
of
in
the
this country,
population.
every 10 years, don't they take the census?
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
right.
if they know in Rogers Park you have so many Haitian, then they can allocate so many funds, whether in the south side or west side. So census.
That's right.
So if we as black people, we do not get together to procreate normally the way he was back in Africa, that's the destruction of the civilization, the black civilization, completely.
That's right. You have to have a way that you can form families. You can't tell people will just be celibate forever, because then you die out, like you said.
That's right.
So
I have a son. My son is 33 years old. Now suppose I didn't have a I said, no, I don't want to get married, you know. You see, who is going to continue
that's right.
the gene? You see
And
what
if you
I'm
just
saying?
have
Even you
children-
too.
Right.
If you don't get married, you don't have a child. Now, multiply this. This is mathematics.
That's right.
Multiply it among our community, whether West Indian community or African American community. Everybody stay to that. I don't want no child. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want to be gay, or I want to live by myself. Whatever you want to do. It's a matter of time.
That's right. You become extinct.
You extend as a people and as a race. So I'm putting it to see the seriousness. That's how I look at it. So when I read your husband's book, Psychic Trauma, and I read the Black Code,
Yes.
you know, then we see what we went through. Now, what the religion give, when you give your religion, your ritual, is how to run your life.
Right.
So the only thing you have is the European perspective, the Eurocentric perspective, because that's what, whether it's King Louis XIV or the King of England, because here they were Anglo and we in the French we are on the fence. You see what I'm trying to say?
Oh, yes.
So I bring this historical point because I read the whole book already. We don't have time to go to detail because it's only 15 minutes. If we have time, maybe the sister can explain for us, to go into details. But it is very important. I'm talking to my niece, to my nephew, to everyone in my family who are in their 20s, 30s, contemplating, marriage.
Yes.
Or dating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's your generation that is facing this critical issue because, like you say, it's about procreation, but then also control of your offspring, being able to have a family that you can shape the way you want as opposed to the government telling you what to do. And with so many women having children out of wedlock, they don't have husbands that are head of the household. They have the government that's the head of the household. So the government tells your children what they can and can't do. You don't have a structure where you and your spouse are guiding your children, because if you're living on government welfare, then the government, in fact, is inside your household, and your children are not seeing a man as the person who is worthy of their respect. They're seeing that the government pays you a check, and so it for your male children, how do they learn that their role is to provide for the family when they're not seeing anybody provide for the family but the government?
Well, I use my own example. I remember when my son was early, maybe 5, 6 years old. I bought a used car. I didn't want to buy a new car because I know the reason why. I remember when my car broke down, and I lift up the car, because I can do some mechanics. Then my son was with me. I mean, this was so beautiful. I say, Mark, give me the winch. Give me this. Give me this. He enjoyed working with his dad.
Yes.
You see, this is something. That's how the education is passed on to your generation.
That's how you teach. You got to.
And the mother does the same thing with the daughter as well.
That's how you pass on culture. Your parents teach you and show you the culture by their example. Now, I'll tell you a short, sad story. Right. I was in a classroom with about 7 young men. They were in 6th and 7th grade. We were having a little session, and I gave them an assignment. I said, write me an essay on what it means to be a good man. And they were, of course, I found out later, all fatherless. So they were stumped. I said, well, and so I was saying, well, because I was trying to get them to use certain vocabulary words. I gave them word responsible, family, children, work. I gave them different words to use in the essay. So finally they said, well, can we just do a paragraph? And I'm like, wow, they're really struggling with this. What is a good man? And so so we finally got down to, okay, well, let's just talk about it. What is a good man? You got to think of what you're trying to be when you get older. And finally they struggled. Finally one of them said, well, a good man is one that pays his child support on time. And I thought, how sad. I mean, because that's all they have to go on, because they don't have the family structure. And all they know is, okay, well, your father is somebody who sends a check. And so I'm looking at, this is going to be the future of what our daughters have to marry. Men who don't have a clue of what they're supposed to do. So, okay, we're supposed to get together and have a child, but then I'd go someplace, and if I'm good, maybe I'll send you a check every now and then.
Son copy on their father. Another example. Now I'm going back 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I remember my son used to, when I go to his room, and he had shoes all over, lined up like in a military style. His copy is daddy. Guess what? He take a pen, he go in the mirror, and
draw a mustache on his face.
You see, this is very important.
But it is.
It's later I found out my son tried to be me.
Yes.
Daddy has mustache, daddy has beard, and then he take a pen and put it, and put his shoes. So figure out if he didn't have me around. So I'm not saying he was not going to be what he, as a human being, to be a man, but something is going to miss.
But look at just the styles of what you see in a lot of young men now. Braids, beads in their hair. The only people they have to emulate are the females in their house, the mothers. So and they're not gay. They don't have anybody else to emulate in terms of adult behavior other than a female head of the household. So, you walk down the street and you see 2 people from the back, and the male got the prettier hair than the woman, because I mean, this is what he has. So instead of drawing the mustache and beard on, he's putting braids in his head.
I want to
I'm
remind
not
you.
with braids, but think about it though.
You're
It's-
right. You are, teacher.
Yes.
I want to remind you, you're watching Unity and Diversity, C'est la vie. It is a community project that seeks to promote the cultural harmony of the human race and the spiritual unity among various religious expressions of faith. I have with me Magda Desir, the host of the Magda Show for the past 5-10 years, etc. Right, Magda?
Yes.
Yeah. And I have with me the queen, the beautiful writer and author of The Female Solution, an alternative for us black people in our community. Right? Did I say it right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then myself. Okay. Now, you read the book. Naimah is open. Did you have any criticism? Do you have something you wonder? How is it possible? Or because you represent a different generation than me.
Growing up in a Haitian household and having to deal with the American culture outside of the house, it's even 10 times harder because when dating, you know, as I'm dating someone now, he keeps referring to me like, you're not black, you're Haitian. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not black, I'm Haitian. Haitian is an ethnicity. Haiti is a country. Haitian is a nationality. You know, it's like a nationality.
Right.
Last I checked, my umbilical cord was cut in the USA. But, you know, technically they would consider me an American. And I tried to explain to him, like, black is black. I don't really, because there's black Mexicans, there's black Dominicans, there's black Europeans, there's black, you know what I'm saying? It's like black is black. I don't look at your ethnicity or your nationality to defy you as a person. But when it comes to relationships, sometimes it's an issue for African American women, because African American when an African American man steps out of his culture to date another woman from another culture, they get offended. They're like, what is it that you see in her that, I mean, she's black. Okay, she you know, she's her parents from another country, but she still looks like us, or she looks, you know what I'm saying? It's an issue.
This is something that was told to me by a friend of mine from Senegal who had African American.
We have 2 minutes left, and then I guess we're going to have to go to a second. Is that what she said?
That's good.
Part 2. Okay. All right. Okay. Finish your thought.
But
Thank you.
You know what I was told by the Senegalese brother is that African American women have so much anger in them. They're always ready to fight, and women from other cultures, they don't have that hostility. Usually, they come from a family where, you know, they have a little more respect for their fathers. They don't have that sense of being in battle all the time, and so they're just easy to deal with. So this is what men from other cultures say about African American women. We have this anger from our slave experience and from being single mothers and all of that, whereas other women from other cultures are kind of used to being protected by a man, and they don't feel like they have to always be in conflict.
Sure. And there's something people miss too. You know, and when we are looking for identity, there are two things in us.
Yes.
The gene, the genome, and the culture. The culture through education.
Culture is very important because that shows.
If you're black, you raised in Germany, you're going to have a different culture.
That's
you raised
right.
in China,
You
different
German,
culture. The West Indies,
Chinese.
in America, it's a
Right.
different struggle.
Right.
For me, brought up in Haiti, I learned the black struggle here by reading and to my peers, you know, my
Right.
brothers and sisters that I embody. That's the reason why sometimes I'm furious about this topic. The female solution, okay?
Yes.
You, Haitian men, Haitian women, with this, your daughter born here, going to school here, is going to have to face this one day. She's going to have to make a choice, or he's going to have to make a choice. Finding a mate, a spouse, and then you find cross-generational, cross-cultural, and all this. How to make sense out of it.
That's right.
The female solution. Okay. We're going to stop here. Part 1. Watch for part 2. Because this is getting very interesting. Sister, thank you very much. I think we got 1 minute left. Magda, thank you. You got to come back to the Magda show and bring your peers here. Okay, this was for you. My name is Azaka. Okay, hasta la vista. And inshallah.
Unity is a most fantastic thing. Unity makes you want to love each other.
de fois la réalité que l'unité dans la diversité, c'est réellement la vie.
Unity puts the world together. Unity is the most fantastic thing. Unity makes you want to love each other. Unity makes you want to dance and sing. So you put your hands together, it's a feeling so sublime. That's unity, that's unity.